All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Film School Show. We have another great episode for you today. I hope this is a great episode, Jason. How are you doing
Yes.
today?
Very good. And before we listen to this episode, I want you to head over to secondsociety.io. Sign up to be a filmmaker. If you're looking to pick up gigs in the industry, we would highly recommend. Our topic today is relevant to this because we really think there needs to be a way into the industry, and this is a great way to get in, is working with experienced people. You get great rates. And of course, if you're looking to hire people, you can hire them over there, secondsociety.io, and hire a shooter or get hired to be a shooter at a wedding this weekend.
Yeah, and if you want to learn more about Second Society, we actually interviewed the founder, Jimmy Lick, months back.
Just released that episode.
Yep, go find that episode there. You can learn all about it and how you can use it in your business. So today's episode, Jay, we'll see where this goes. We've been talking about this theory for a very long time. But also we're like, we don't want to be the ones that do it. It's going to take way too much time to put together. But it kind of comes from a place of like thinking about our industry as a whole, thinking about the health and long-term well-being and respectability of our industry as a whole. I've always felt like, wedding filmmakers don't really have a lot of credibility in our more broader industry. We're kind of like the last thing that people are hiring. Maybe that's due to just, only, like 30% of people getting a wedding filmmaker for their wedding. So, obviously more people are hiring a florist, more people are hiring photographer for a majority of weddings, which is kind of weird because I think only like 30% of weddings have a wedding planner, and they're like the most powerful people in our industry, I think. But anyways, I've always felt like there are some great flaws in our part of the industry as wedding filmmakers.
We'll just say they're very limiting. There's a lot of limiting factors.
Right. There's and it's complicated because for a lot of people, wedding filmmaking is a gig economy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I have a camera. How do you start out in maybe the broader videography, cinema world? I started as a wedding filmmaker. I broke in, I got a couple jobs that allowed me to pay for some, gear, and then I left. There's a ton of people that use the wedding industry that way, right?
Yes.
It's very easy to break into, shoot your friend's wedding, whatever. That's how a lot of us got started, right? And so I'm sympathetic to that world because I think it's a vast majority of wedding filmmakers.
Yeah, there's also a lot of people who would love to be full-time, but they just can't do it. So they're like trying their best, but they're booking their 5-10 weddings and they can't overcome whatever limitations there are in their market or with their brand or with their personality or whatever it is. So it's part-time by choice and part-time by not choice, but all of them are like part of the market.
Right. So we have, and this is what I hear from a lot of people out there is like, oh, there's just so many people, oversaturation of the market. You hear photographers say that all the time. There's so many people that can just be a photographer.
Planners say it now.
Now with AI and everything, it's easier than ever to be a photographer. Like you can just pick up a camera and you can go. My thought is, how do we protect the people who are full-time from having jobs that should go to full-time people that have the credibility, that have been working in the industry, that, should be getting these jobs, from having these jobs poached from inexperienced people who are just essentially maybe lying, cheating, whatever, to get these jobs, right? Like maybe that's a really intense, harsh way to put it.
Let me soften the blow a little because I'm sympathetic. If you're part-time, you're listening to this, like we're not trying to say you should never get booked and you're evil for doing what you're doing. We're mainly trying to say, we are full-timers. We're experienced. We've been doing this a lot. And the reality is, our reputation in the industry as a low-tier vendor, our pricing, our lack of market penetration across all weddings is not caused by the lack of performance of full-time wedding filmmakers, by the best and the most professional people. The issue is there is a massive presence of people who, for one reason or another, don't or can't be as professional, don't have to charge as much money because they aren't depending on the money. So like when a full-time person tells you their price, they're telling you their actual needs.
Right.
When a part-time person tells you their price, they're telling you their wants.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of weekend warriors. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that have a full-time job and then they're like, hey, I really enjoy this on the weekend. I want to make an extra $3,000.
How many times have you heard somebody
$5,000 on the
say
weekend.
like, oh, I'm willing, I just want to focus on working with couples that just feed my soul.
Right. Feed your creative.
And what they mean is, I'll take a haircut on this because I don't want to bother with annoying couples. But it's like, imagine an industry where like there was a plumber in your market who was like, I just want to work in nice houses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just like being around good design
Mm-hmm.
and like working in nice plumbing. So I'm just going to like take I'm not going to charge, and I'm going to charge exactly the right amount that anyone with a nice house would obviously hire me.
Right.
Like, it would destroy the market, and it destroys. And I'll give you a perfect example.
The difference between a plumber and a wedding filmmaker is what we get to do is actually really, really cool, right? There's an appeal to it that's like a cool factor.
Oh, yeah, of
we
course.
get to travel. We get to be in some of the most, even if you're a local vendor, you get to be in the most luxurious venues on the nicest weekends around the most wealthy, inaccessible people.
You can brag about
in
it
your region. You can brag about
make
it,
a
take
social
photos.
media profile, bad talking me, wearing a headset. Like you get to get a lot of ego stroking as well. True. Like, and this is to your point. This is a real world example of things that happened to Jared and I. Martha's Vineyard is a desired location. I don't think it's quite what people think it is. It's very challenging. There's a lot of issues with it. And one of the biggest issues is the ferry books up and you have to bring a car. Like, if you're not experienced on the island and you think you can Uber around there as a filmmaker, as a photographer, you might be able to get away with it. As a filmmaker, it's very challenging. And there's a lot, the weddings are in the summer, that island quadruples in population during the summer. Those roads are not designed for that.
Mm-hmm.
So everything about that island becomes you need to be experienced and professional to handle that
And you
island.
have to charge a lot of money to
So
be
that's my
profitable.
point. So you got to bring your car. So you bring your car, that adds like $500 to the ferry price. And you need to book 2 nights.
Yep.
Right? And the rooms are expensive. And
a lot of places make you book 2
or
nights.
3, sometimes
Yeah.
3. And the person goes, oh, it's Martha's Vineyard. It's all the same. I found a cheap place. That is 45 minutes away on the other side of the island. I am not going to stay there. It will ruin your coverage. Trust me. These are all things that I'm saying out of experience and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's my cost of my package, by nature of being experienced and knowing what it takes to do a good job, is going to be $1,500 more than
Minimal.
other
Yeah.
person who goes, well, like, I want to take the kids to Martha's Vineyard this weekend. So
I've never been to Martha's Vineyard. We have a
Oh.
lot of New York people that are like,
Martha's Vineyard,
I'll
right?
come up and do it at cost. Like,
Yeah, so they go like, yeah, I'll just eat the travel costs, and also I'll charge less than Jason. So they're going to do $4,500, and I'm going to send them a $7,000 package plus $1,500 travel. Now this person is making no money off of this wedding, or
Right.
making like $1,500 maybe.
Right.
And also doesn't know what they're talking about, because if they get to that island and they're Ubering everywhere, they're going to be late. They're going to perform badly.
Right.
They're going to have all these issues that, because they're not professional, they don't understand.
Right.
And
And also at the end of the day, maybe that person creates a really nice film.
yeah, maybe they do.
So it's like there's not the market competitiveness thing that's happening where it's like, well, Jason, because he's super professional and he knows all these things, he runs a profitable company and is doing this full time, is going to create a better film than that guy. Now, I think
And also, we're in
9
demand.
times out
We're
of
in
10, you are going to create a better film than that person who's just doing it on the side or whatever is unprofessional. I think we do. There are elements that are just like we get more coverage because we know things. And
But it's not like they get both and then
charging
pick
more.
which one is better, by the way.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so it's like the
Sure.
couple doesn't know, and people have
Can't A/B it.
no, they have a bias to
Right.
whatever they bought is the best, and so w- professionals, if you do this full time, you're like, I can't do that. Someone else might book me that day,
Right.
so I can't take haircuts to do things that really aren't that great opportunities.
Yeah. So what we're talking about really is like, because there's no market incentive from the customer to hire the professional and pay more money, they're willing to get a person who's less experienced who'll do it for less money, maybe, just, yeah, in most cases, less money, but also, and to do the same job kind of thing. But also, how many times do you hear about the unprofessional people that
Hmm.
people are like, hey, we brought this guy on. I mean, we have a million photographer friends, and they're like, the videographer showed up in slides and flip flops and
Shorts and
shorts, and like
stood in front of me all day. I
they
heard
were they were awful. They lost the footage, like So people go to us and they go, oh, we love their work. We provide credibility to the wedding filmmaker industry. They go, oh, Stop Go Love, they're incredible. Ah, we really can't afford $7,000 for wedding film. What can we afford? Maybe around $3,000, $4,000, somewhere like that. And then you have a lot of people in that range that are like, maybe they're legitimate, maybe they're starting out, whatever. There's a lot of really good people in that world that are working their way up. But then there's a lot of people that are like, hey, I got a camera and I can charge someone $4,000. I have a website that's up, zero credibility, right? And then that person goes, well, this person's here. I like some of their work. Maybe they did a good wedding film at one point, but then they're going to get them. And this person's not going to be a wedding filmmaker long term. They're just using weddings as a stepping stone for their own personal career to get into being a DP or whatever. It's a learning experience for them. And they could have a terrible experience with those people. So those people hurt our credibility as wedding
No, and not
filmmakers.
even mentioning the booking agencies, the Tolman Medias and the Copper Stallion Medias.
Right.
It's like
Those people are the worst.
it's only able to be possible because of the part-timers setting the market price.
Exactly.
Like if the part-timers weren't willing to do it for 3, Tolman couldn't do it for 3
Right. Right.
because Tolman, or 2 or even less. And like I have a lot of mixed feelings on that because I do understand like customers aren't willing to pay for what they're not willing to pay for. And I do think the problem with our industry is we don't have volume options to make the mark. Wedding filmmaking is really hard to do by yourself. You
But
could
we've
do
created
it
and built
at
a
a,
whole industry
you
around
could
it.
do it at a high price. But if you want to get that $2,500 in 1990, it would be good for the industry if there was credible, ran by professionals who know what they're doing, who care, charging a product for $19.99 that we could pay part-timers $500 to shoot. That would be good for the industry. What instead happens is that package is not managed that way.
Mhm.
It's horrible. It's the values of the people running the companies
They
are
grow
not
way too
good.
fast, and
Like
it's
they
terrible.
like it's bad, and so it's like we have this two-part problem where the bottom of the market, the customer side, not the provider side, doesn't buy the product, so you can't create a really stable ladder to go up in the industry.
Yeah.
So they're
You're saying
essentially
there simply isn't enough in their budget of a
yes.
$20,000 to $30,000 wedding to hire a $500 to $1,000 videographer.
That's the
even.
number one problem with the whole industry. And so what happens is the people who do enter the market in the middle and charge sometimes the same price as a person with experience. And the person with experience is charging the price for a different reason.
Mhm.
They're going like, this is what I can get.
Yep.
That other person's going to ride your jock because you opened up the door for them.
You
and
provided the
You
credibility.
provided the
and,
credibility to them. You opened up,
and on a website, it looks like
looks the
this
same.
is the same.
Instagram looks the same. And so the problem is these people enter in the middle market, they compete with pros, and then they wipe the pros out. And so what ends up happening is we have the middle of the market is just constant
Right.
recycling of new people taking out old people going out. And they never really elevate, and nobody actually begins at the beginning. I know this is like complex, guys.
Well, it's really not. I think it's maybe a more complex take than the two things you hear on social media, which is all these people are undercutting us.
Yes.
They're lowballing everyone and undercutting the industry. There's that sentiment, but then also there's too many videographers here. It's oversaturated, as well. Like those are the two sentiments that people have. This is our complex take on
Yeah,
it.
and they're just jammed into one little part of the market. That's the problem. Is like the
It's a
people
jumbled mess.
like if somebody was like, I was saying like this, like say there was a restaurant, you went to the restaurant and they were serving, I don't know, steaks, and you saw a steak on the menu and it was $45. You, if you eat out, you wouldn't blink at that. You might not buy it. You might like, I don't want to pay a $45 dinner, but you're not going to go like a $45 steak. This is unheard of. You're just going to be like, oh, I don't want to buy a $45 steak, or fine. Oh, I'm here to eat a $45 steak. That's why I'm here. If across the street was John's Steak Shack and it was just a tent and a guy with a grill, you would look and go, well, that's going to be more expensive. And then you look to the right and go, oh, that's says $12 for a sirloin. And you might want the $12 sirloin and you walk over to the tent and whatever, but you don't go into the steakhouse afterwards and go, why are you $45? That guy across the street selling them for 12. There's immediately something visual that the customer can use to evaluate why his is cheaper than yours.
Right. But
Like,
also
there's like
imagine a person that's only going to buy one steak in their lifetime.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, well.
There's no way they could, is my
Yeah,
point. There's
yeah.
no way that they could evaluate it. And there's no way that they could know. There's no indicator to the customer.
Right.
They don't know enough about steak. They don't know anything. Like all it is like you put two steaks on the thing. And if both of them look good and one of them's 12 and one of them's 45, you go, why is that one 12?
Yeah.
Or why is that one 45? The cheap one is better.
Yep.
They don't realize
But
that like
I think the way a lot
you
of
have
people
to eat it in the hot sun. They're going to give you a paper cup.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be sweating. It's not clean. They might not open on time. Like you look at a tent and you go, oh, this is not a professional operation.
Yeah.
Versus you go into this nice restaurant, you take a girl out on a date, you take your wife out on a date. Like you're paying for the ambiance, the professionalism, the experience. That's what you're paying for with a high-end luxury wedding filmmaker or even a professional wedding filmmaker. Is it's not simply the substance of the deliverable, even though that's a very important part of it. It's the problem solving, the professionalism, the experience, the contracts, the doing what you say, the delivering on time. Like there's no way for us to get that in front of customers at the front end of the market. All we can show them is the steak.
and the high end clientele that can just afford a $40 steak are going to be like, well, it's a little scary that this legitimate steakhouse is selling a $40 steak. That's a $12. I don't trust that.
Yes.
I have the money for it. So
I would never buy that. I only buy $45
the only
steaks.
problem you have, which is this is the majority of people, will go, $40 for a steak is kind of expensive. This $12 steak, they're caught in that pricing limbo of having to make that decision because we are the last people in line.
When they want to be happy with the $12 steak.
Yes.
They would,
And in some cases,
they must.
they might get the one steak in there that was cooked pretty well. Like maybe.
Well, I've eaten plenty of food out of tents and random things on the side of the road. I do expect it to be cheaper.
Right.
Because I'm not paying for your rent.
Right.
I'm not paying for your marketing. I'm not paying for all the things that go the ambiance. Like I'm drinking out of a paper cup.
Right.
I'm eating on paper plates. Like the food can still be great, but like that person is like, yeah, we know what we are. And the customer's like, I know what you are. And we all know what we are, what's going on there. There's nothing like that in the wedding filmmaker market. There's no signpost that tells the customer why something is expensive or cheap. And so then this is why like planners that don't know what they're talking about will like look at films and be like, oh, can you just make it this person? The reason they're successful is because of this film they made. And I'm like, the reason they're successful, yes, the film is good, but it's a island with two supermodels kissing in a tropical location. And therefore people like it. It's like this, they might have done a good job, but like 20 other people might have shot the exact same film.
Right.
There's nothing unique about what this person did, and good job by them. But it's like they're working with better ingredients. That's all we have, though.
Yeah.
How else are we supposed to validate pricing other than that?
So we have this problem, and I think a lot of people out there are probably thinking this. They're like, how does this affect me? Like, yeah, there are people that are undercutting, but I'm doing pretty well. I'm in my own lane. I'm doing my own thing. I'm thinking about it from our perspective, and we're in that boat too. Like, I think we do very well. We have 3 different brands that are doing very well. We raise prices every single year. Um, but I do think that the sustainability, like we've been in this industry for 15 years. I'm thinking about the next 5 years. I'm thinking about the next 10 years. I'm thinking about our industry as a whole and the people that I want to see around in 5 to 10 years that I think are doing a good job. How do we protect those brands, long term? How do we protect and gain respect up in the broader industry? Because I do think there is some more credibility coming our way. People are respecting wedding films more and more and more. Even with like content creators coming out, like I think planners and people do appreciate wedding films, probably more than ever. Maybe not in mass, but the people that are getting good ones really do love those things. So, I think I'm coming at it from that perspective of like, what does that look like now that we're in our like, what were we when we were talking to Lindsay Landman? She was like, saying she thinks we're in our like preteen years
as an industry.
and as an industry. I think we're still in our infant years
Well,
as wedding filmmakers,
as wedding filmmakers,
right?
yes.
So it's like I'm thinking
Maybe
more,
toddlers. Like we're like toddlers, we're
Right.
running around the house making a mess, and every once in a while you talk to your toddler and think like, I think they get it.
yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they're throwing something across the room, breaking
Yeah.
your TV. So
So how do we solve this problem? Is it even our responsibility to solve this problem?
I mean, it's certainly not me and you's responsibility, but
I mean, I don't want to do it, but the only thing that I can think about, and again, it kind of makes me feel a little bit when I follow it to its logical conclusion, it kind of makes me feel a little bit like Thanos, where it's like we have to thin out half the population to make it actually sustainable industry and make it a legit thing.
so like Bill Gates.
Yeah, like, which is why I'm like a little bit uneasy about it, to be honest. But I think it's creating a wedding professionals guild or a wedding creatives.
There needs to be
guild.
some kind of professional standard that says this is a professional person. I don't think you can like unionize. You can't like do total market control. You can't like take away customer choice.
Well-
And even if you wanted to, I don't think it would work.
Yeah.
But I do think like
It's important to go through the differences because a lot of people hear guild and they think union, and there's ways that they work together. Apparently, I've done a little bit of research on it, but a guild like the Screenwriters Guild is essentially just giving someone credibility, giving someone a badge that just says this person has been vetted,
they're professional.
they've done a certain amount of jobs.
Because they probably have the same issue in screenwriting. Is like me and you could just write a script right now.
right.
We can all
Has
just
it been picked up? Has it been
Yeah.
like vetted? Like there's a certain barrier in a bubble that you have to break through in order to start getting certain jobs. And once you're in, it's great. You're in, but it does provide a little bit of credibility to you. And so that's what a guild is. A union is like, okay, you're in the union. Now whoever's hiring you has to abide by union laws. It's really if you have a boss. In our case, that doesn't really work because your boss is a clientele, right?
well, and there's just so
You're a
much,
contracted help. Like
there
it doesn't
isn't-
work.
It'd be like it wouldn't work. Like say there's like a laborers union.
Right.
It wouldn't work if every single laborer ran their own company.
Yes.
It only works because laborers in the unions typically work for large firms that have
Exactly.
representatives that negotiate in the union.
The comparison is Hollywood, right? It's SAG. It's the screenwriters union as well. Like
There's like tech unions in cities.
you're a contractor. You get hired from the studio or a production company to work on individual events, right? Again, a little bit different why a union doesn't work, but I think having a guild would be helpful to our industry. And again, this is a theory. It's like the reason why we're talking about it is because I want to get feedback from people to hear what they think as well. But the way that it gains credibility and the reason why I think it would help full-time wedding filmmakers and people that want to be full-time and do this professionally is through venues, right? And through planners, people that have authority. I think if you said to like, even just starting at local, hey, top 10 venues in our entire, New England region, there's this thing. It's the guild for wedding filmmakers or wedding photographers. that provides some credibility. You don't know who's really
Yeah, like
good.
a wedding. It could even just be a wedding creatives guild.
I don't expect a Fairmont Copley Plaza or the Raffles Boston to know what makes a wedding photographer or filmmaker credible. Like, I don't expect that. But they do in certain ways. They expect them to not wear slides and like shorts to a wedding. But I think that, and then also, if those people were doing something like, if you're a venue and you're like, hey, you can't fly a drone on my property, and I, the wedding professional, say, okay, I'm not going to do it because I value my relationship with them. There's no stopping the wedding filmmaker who's coming in, who's a, Joe Schmo, being like, I don't care about this venue. I'm going to get my drone shot. And then they fly around. Like, the venue can't really stop them, right? The venue wants to be able to stop them. They want full control. So as a guild, you're able to say, hey, venue, tell your clients that when they hire you, you require your creative team to be gilded. And then the client goes, well, who's gilded? Okay, we have a list of vendors here. You can also go to the Wedding Creatives Guild website and find a full list of people in your area, that an actual like vendor list and Rolodex of people that you can hire that are really great, that are legitimate. Anyone else on this site that's not on the site isn't a legitimate.
Well, and also
gilded
it would take the
person.
power away from the not.
Yeah.
Because I think
you actually have a legitimate place that, and what are the credentials too? That has to be decided. And that's, maybe a little bit harder to do, but I think simple things like you have to have your drone license.
all proper licensing, all proper insurance.
Yep.
Like, I would think
there has to be some other things like show us your work. There has to be like a vetting process of like, hey, where have you worked before? Is it these country clubs and whatever? You can work the country clubs, whatever. Like
Well, I would think you have
your
to
country
have
club tour.
You have to have your own either sole prop or S corps already set up.
Yep.
Like you have to be a person who pays taxes and is
actually. But you also have to have some work done.
Yes. But some people will like. This is the way most people build their careers now is this, and I don't know what we do about this, but I think it's very bad. It's very bad. And not because of the reason some people might think, but they work with someone, they go, can I use this footage to build my portfolio?
Yep.
And then they make it look like they got booked at Castle Hill and Witchmere Beach Club and Chatham Bars Inn when really they just second shot for someone. And it really, what sucks is, and I just want to encourage you guys, don't let your shooters do this. Say no. Not because you're trying to be a jerk to them, but because you're going to be screwing your next customers, because
it undercuts the entire industry.
the person who's booking someone who shoots Chatham Bars Inn, not to say it's like the most luxury ever, but like literally Bruno Mars performed there at like a Marcy Bloom wedding. So that's
like, pretty nice, man.
Freaking like what's like, it's great. And it's like, it's not nothing.
Yeah.
And getting into a place like that, like Boston Public Library, these premier places, it takes a lot of hard work, and you have to like prove yourself. And if somebody can just take your brand development skills and your sales skills and your customer service and then use it to build their business off of, it's not, then the customer gets them in the, like, I don't know, Boston Public Library. If you're a second shooter and you get some content from Boston Public Library, but you didn't negotiate the gig or run the logistics for the day, you are not going to do as good of a job as someone who did. Because shooting at that place is one thing. Planning and organizing and doing logistics at these inner city weddings is a whole other thing.
Yep.
And so the person hires them. Oh, I thought you shot here. Well, and then they get a crappy wedding film, and then they go tell people, we hired this guy for $3,000. Don't get a wedding film. Not worth it.
We never watch it. We hated it. Whatever.
They were late to everything. They missed everything because they couldn't figure out where to park their car because they don't understand how anything works.
So this is all why I say, is that good for the industry? Obviously not. Should we care about it? I do care about it. Is there a way to control it? I don't know.
And
outside of this, I don't know.
If you're listening to this podcast and you're like getting booked by all these planners from Engage, like, no offense, I don't really care about your opinion on this, because,
well, you know what? I bet there is actually a little bit of sentiment that can be had for those luxury filmmakers
I
too,
don't know. I've spoken
because
to them,
they
and
have a lot of people in that part of the industry who are like, yeah, I got undercut by people maybe like us that have never worked that level of
but the
luxury.
guild wouldn't solve that. That's the problem. Is like
Maybe though,
that's a relationship driven industry.
the barrier would be breaking into luxury venues and with luxury planners.
High end venues, high end planners,
Yep.
mostly local, mostly in that $6,000 to $10,000 range.
Yep.
Which is an important that
But also maybe there could be another level of like the luxury wedding filmmaker guild.
my point
that you
is like
break
that
into.
guild is you pay to go to engage. Like
Sure.
like that guild.
There's some
they're-
natural
they're-
things that
they're-
are built in.
This is what I'll say. Every time I talk to them, they don't give a flip about any part of the market. They only care about themselves, and that's fine because they're making like I didn't say it the right way. Their bread is buttered. Is my point. They don't have any problems that need solving.
Yep.
Because that part of the industry actually has a really good gatekeeping system.
Wedding planners.
Wedding planners
Yes.
and expensive events that have a barrier to entry to go to even get in front of them. Great content that needs to pop and get picked by maybe celebrities. And there's a lot of barriers to entry that mean that there isn't a lot of pretenders, no matter what Ray says. Like there isn't a lot of people who actually are, maybe their work isn't super creative or whatever, but they're professional and they're going to do a good job. If you hire any of the luxury wedding filmmakers, whether you like their work or not as a filmmaker, if the couple hires them, they're going to get a professional service. They're going to get value. It's not going to cause our industry problems.
Yes.
Whether you hire LaRev or Sculpting with Time or Fiore Films or Peyton Frank or Emma Kay or any of these people, they're all going to do a good job.
Yep.
So we don't have a problem there. There's people who protect the market. There's lots of stuff. The issue is not that part of the market. That's why I'm saying they don't care and they don't need to care. The issue is, I do think maybe there would be more talent entering that part of the market if the latter was better. Maybe that's true. I don't know. The part of the market that's absolutely getting destroyed by this is the middle and high end market. Like there are people who are like $10,000 filmmakers, which is a great price. If you were charging 10 grand for your wedding films, more power to you. You're doing an awesome job. Who are literally competing with people who are sending $3,500 proposals.
Yeah, and that's the other aspect of this. By creating a guild, if you become a gilded wedding filmmaker, then you can automatically charge more money because you have access to those venues, right? Like you've broken
Which means
through
you have
that
access to
bubble.
those budgets.
You have access to those budgets, and it automatically raises the budgets, guys. Like everyone is like, oh, like race to the bottom, race to the bottom. A guild would prevent that.
Yes. It would level the playing field in a sense. And this is what I think we all want. Fair competition. So if you put up, if I'm 9 and you're 9 and you're 11 and I'm 11, or maybe I'm a little cheaper than you. I'm not saying everyone has to like, it's not price fixing.
Yeah.
But like nobody's just gonna leave money on the table for no reason. So like like if you're a professional, it's like we all have bills to pay. So you can only do it for so cheap. So whatever. I'm 9, you're 10, whatever. The couple looks at everyone's work and then they go, I like this person better. And then you're getting more of your ideal client, right? Because you're working with people who are picking you based on the good fit and the work and all that junk. And then we're having less issues where the market is being manipulated, where really good weddings are going to really mediocre filmmakers simply because the couple didn't want to spend an extra $2,000.
Right.
And
But you know, and the other aspect of this is like the training side, because obviously before you hit like the gilded barrier of like working at Boston Public Library, like these luxurious type of venues, you have the country club circuit, right? You have people that are like gaining their chops, like maybe you are part-time. That should still exist, right? But
yeah,
but you don't necessarily need it at every country club.
no,
Like,
or like Five Bridge Inn or something. It's a nice little hotel
Yeah.
in our area. They do nice little weddings.
Yep.
There's a lot of problems. That's why we're like saying like we're not the ones doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's like we don't know everything and like we're not trying to prevent people. By the way, I'm not anti-gatekeeper. I'm kind of pro gatekeeper.
I know. Well, that's the big debate now is like, why do all these people gatekeep and blah blah blah? There's good reason for it. And I'm like, we don't gatekeep information from
No.
people, but I think there should be when it comes to getting hired, like you shouldn't be able to just lie to people and like,
Well, and
we believe
customers.
in faking it till you make it, but I also am responsible. And like, can I do that job? Yes, and I'll do a good job for you.
So
Like
let me ask you this question: could a part timer shoot at the MFA, Museum of Fine Arts in Boston?
by themselves?
Like, say they said, "Oh, I got my wedding at the MFA," and they said, "Will you, I want to hire you?" Could they? Could they
Do a good job?
Do a good job?
No, I don't think so. Or they couldn't do as good of a job as I would do.
I don't even know that they could do a good job at all.
They could show up and have a single camera and do a highlight, probably.
Maybe, or maybe they won't understand that half the art you can't film,
hmm
and the couple there's nowhere outside to shoot, and when you need to do your portrait session and when you can't get away.
I just
with
don't think this information is necessarily like subject to just being held by someone who's gilded. Like
No, it's held by someone who's professional. Like a professional would understand all the
but
challenges.
a part timer could understand a lot of those challenges
How would they get the information?
by going to the website, by emailing people. Like,
I know they
could
could.
do those
I'm
things.
just saying that they don't. In my experience, they get into because they don't. It doesn't occur to them
Mhm.
because they don't know that the MFA is a different world than the country club, and that they're not going to have 45. This is why you see all the time. I shot this wedding. It was terrible.
If it was their 5th wedding they've ever done, it would be overwhelming and they would probably do a poor job.
Yes.
If it was their 100th wedding they've done, and they've done 100 country club weddings beforehand, they would have a little bit of a sense of like, this is an elevated venue. Hey, what are the things I need to know
Sure.
about?
But that person
It's
would
just
be.
about getting
But that
the people
person
their
would be
reps.
But that person would be someone who I would say should be gilded.
Mhm.
Like that person would qualify to be in the guild.
Mhm.
They did 100 weddings and they're looking to level up. That's why I'm saying I'm not gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to say to someone like you should never just get out of our spaces. We're saying don't ruin it for us.
Mhm.
Please don't ruin it for us. We've worked really hard to get into this space. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Like they don't know the difference between me and you. And if you show up and do a bad job, if you
I mean, how many times have you had like someone flying a drone around your, wedding and it's not you? You're like, that's not me. I promise. It's the same exact.
or
kinda
like
concept.
how many times have you like gone into a church and the church ladies run up to you and they're like yelling at you before you've done anything
Yeah.
about all these rules, and then you're like, can I just shoot her face walking up the aisle though?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh no, you can do that. And I'm like, what were they thinking I was gonna do?
Yeah.
And then you look at footage of how other people are acting and you're like, this is why they're doing this to me.
Yep.
They're doing this to me because this other guy was like standing on top of the stage next to the sacrament
Breathing over the groom's neck.
or touching the priest or
Yeah.
something. Like it's like this is what I'm talking about. Is like those kind of things are a scourge on our
Yeah.
industry category.
And the people that are upset about gatekeeping, I'm sure they're like, if you're saying that, I'm sure you're taking what you're doing very seriously. If you're like, why are all these people gatekeeping and blah, 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 but understand the perspective on the other side of like, when you get to a certain part, you realize that there's a lot of scabby people in the industry, like that ruin it for the rest of us. And like, you'll eventually get to that point where you feel the same way about people
Everyone feels the same
entering the
way.
industry.
And it's
Yeah.
and notice we're not calling them bottom feeders. We're not insulting
I
people.
did just call them scabby.
Well, there are scabby people, but not based on price, not based on
Yeah, sure,
how long
sure.
they've been doing it.
They're
It's
just low
they just
character.
are bad people.
Yeah.
Or dumb people.
Yeah.
But like there are also a lot of people who just aren't there yet.
Yeah.
And like so I don't think
And
anybody
that can be frustrating if it's like, oh yeah, well I've shot 15 weddings and I'm really good. My clients really love it.
Well, if there was a guild and like you had your papers and you had an S corp or whatever
Yeah.
set up and you had your insurance, then you could join it.
Yep.
So it's like I don't think that there's and you know what? From that guild, maybe you go to guild members and say, "Hey, I got a wedding at the MFA. Tell me what it takes to shoot it."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somebody can
would
tell
have
you.
some local community that can be like, hey,
But you know what I don't want to
this is
do?
what to do.
Tell Tolman Media how to shoot that wedding.
Mhm.
I don't want to give them any information.
Well, then Tolman would have to pay the dues for 50 people,
Yes.
and that might support other filmmakers.
That
Like,
would
that's
support
good.
it. And that would support our actual goal, which is just the improvement of the industry category.
Yes.
I think creating consistent professional standards across the industry and a way of building trust with the market is a way for people to actually elevate in a professional way
Mhm.
is important.
Yeah.
And that's really all I think what we're saying. And like, maybe it's not a guild, whatever it is, but like, we got to grow up.
So let's talk about like what it could be, right? What would we need to make something like this happen? So if you're feeling inspired at home and you want to do this, because I certainly don't want to do this.
We'll be on your board.
Yeah, we'll be on the board and we'll have a phone call with you if you want to start something like this. But um, you need a leader. You probably need a board, like you said. People would have to pay dues
Need
because
chapters.
you would have to pay people. You need chapters. You would need to pay people to process all this information, to approve people to be, joining, to be able to handle
You need admin people who call everyone every year and say, can we have your updated part 107? Can we have your updated insurance?
a lot of that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of office work, which maybe a lot of it can be done with AI now.
And maybe the guild could do stuff for people, like function as like kind of a virtual assistant, like where they call up and venues go, can I have proof of insurance? And then they just forward that to the guild and the guild handles it for them. I mean, I think who knows? I mean, the dues have to get
be
through
really
something.
great if venues didn't have to contact the filmmaker, if they just were like, hey, Wedding Creatives Guild, give me the certificate of insurance for these 20 people that are coming to our venue this summer. Great. Here's all 20.
And I can tell you, like,
that's an actual service that is valuable. I hate dealing with those people.
I like WIPA, and this is not a dig on WIPA because WIPA is a different thing. But the thing about WIPA is you go and there's just like a pile of people there, and some of them are like really great and experienced, and some of them are just trying to break in. And there are people that's the first thing they do when they join the industry is they join WIPA.
Yeah.
And then you're there and you're like, have this guy talking to you, and then you look at their stuff and you realize they're just trying to get information out of you so they can fight you on the market. And then it's like, it's not totally a safe space to have conversations about what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And I do think that's one of the problems. Like, you go in a Facebook group, and this is why, like, we have such a challenging industry. The gatekeeper thing, the bottom feeder thing, like who the heck are all these people talking that I should care about what they think or what they say? Like, there's no way, there's zero barrier to entry one way or the other, which is why people like get offended by half the stuff I say, because they think I'm just popping off. I'm not popping off. I'm literally coming from a place of like wanting to be helpful. And I'm telling you from experience what I believe. Now, I'm not always right, but I'm telling you my opinion based on experience. And if you're in a room with 10 other people who are all professionals and Jason's randomly popping off, maybe somebody might disagree, but more often than not, I don't know if you've experienced this, the conversations you have with professionals make where like you might say something in a random Facebook group where everyone's offended, and then you say the exact same thing with 10 professionals and they go, yeah. Like, that is the thing that I am most like, I get hungry for kinship and like being around people who have a similar set of problems as I do, because I don't know everything.
Yeah. And I mean, kind of like this whole conversation being had between us, it's like people go, yeah, I just don't know how to solve that problem. That's what I've seen. You talk to people and they're like, yeah, I've thought about it. You're right. It's just, there's no way to solve it from what I'm seeing.
And I don't care about like anyone but myself. So why would I bother?
Yeah, exactly. So, we're a little bit different because we are trying to do something that's very, very different.
I have a vision for the industry. Like, and it's like, this is the thing that always happens in my life, Jared.
I don't know why, by the way.
I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Like, but I always get into these situations and I always like, I'm willing to be a leader, but I don't like it.
Well, maybe you should do it then.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I don't like people think that like everyone who's willing to lead something or want to is a power hungry person. But sometimes they're just people who are unwilling to tolerate mediocrity. And they just can't I just can't stand it. It's just like when I'm around cuz it causes me tangible problems in my day-to-day life with my business that I feel like I shouldn't have to tolerate. I feel like they're just stupid and everyone's always whistling past the graveyard until it affects them.
Mhm.
And I think it
Well, they don't realize how it actually is affecting them.
it will wipe them out. It will wipe them out. Like I'm telling you, based on what Jared and I have done with our business, what we have done is somewhat unprecedented. And we are lucky. And also because we got in early and we, of course, did a good job. So we've earned our spot, but we're also lucky. And we're aggressive and we're doing a lot of things. And even with our level of expertise, I see the market and I go, like, you shouldn't be able to build something. And we're doing fine, by the way. So this is not me saying like we're struggling with bookings. No, we're not at all. But I do look at the market and go like, okay, I know how hard we have to work to maintain our presence. Imagine people who don't have full-time editors like us.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to have to keep up with this guy who has nothing else going on.
Well, I'm pissed off by the fact that if I want to make more money, I have to sell out my character and give people a crappy product and lie to them. I have to create a Tolman media. I'm not going to do that. I refuse to create
or
Tolman
get
media.
lucky and get like booked by a bunch of exclusive elite people that are going to make you sell your soul in a different way to work
Right,
with them.
right.
It's like you can't just show up on the market, have a business and say like, none of this is any of your business. Hey, wedding planner, not your business.
Mhm.
Other filmmakers, not your business. I run my own business.
Mhm.
Literally, it's not your business. It's literally my actual business I own.
Yep.
I'm going to do it the way I want to do it because I can go directly to customers and sell them this thing. I don't have to. The reason why we're in this planner situation where if you want to charge more than 8 or 10 grand, you just literally have to do everything a planner says. Pretty much. And like every time you talk to planners, they all say no. And I'm like, okay, I'll try not doing what you say next time. We'll see if you prefer me again. Give me a break. Like, and it's like, and I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm saying like that we signed up for that.
Yeah.
We signed up for that. But I don't want to have
It's like
to do
content
that.
creators saying they're not competing with you or doing the same
Or
job.
videographers pretending that they're not just content creators for wedding filmmakers,
Yeah.
for wedding planners.
Yeah.
Like we have to the only way to become a high-end filmmaker is to also be the free marketing arm for the entire wedding industry.
Mhm.
You can't do it with the actual person paying your bill.
Yeah. And I think that's also not the client's fault, but because of the client.
Yes.
Because the client doesn't value it as much as planners value it.
It's because of us, though.
Yeah. Like
It's because of the sucky part of the market that's unprofessional, that hasn't built up demand for the product so that some filmmakers can say like, I'm going to go the planner route. That's what I like doing. And I want to do that. And I'm happy to do that. And some filmmakers can go, I don't want to deal with those people. I'm going to, we talk about Joseph Lauren a lot. He doesn't want to deal with wedding planners.
he's a photographer.
He's a photographer.
Mhm.
He has massive demand. He can charge whatever price he can charge just through consumers.
Mhm.
Just the consumer reaches out to him. They like his work, and the planner has no say. And the venue, like all these people have no say. And it's like, we don't have that because the bottom of the market sucks.
Mhm.
That's my theory. My whole theory is like markets develop from the bottom,
Mhm.
not, and sometimes from the top. But like the problem with the top of the market is like, you think about like a luxury purse or any celebrity thing. How do people decide they want to wear that purse?
Because there's influence for them to wear it from people that are
Massive
influentials.
exposure
Mhm.
is the most public thing. It's like a plot. to get them to want to buy that purse.
Yeah.
Hey, wear that purse out to this event, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's going to want it, Rihanna or whatever. The top of our market is like, hey, also like we can't show anything. So like even the second the top of the market,
because there's an NDA.
Yes. So the second the top of the people get into that market, all their work becomes people like, oh, it's generic. I'm like, maybe, but maybe you just don't see any of it. And it's like we are able to whet the appetite of the bottom of the market with the product that we sell. If it was like a normal luxury product creates the bottom tier product. It's like, oh, you can't afford, freaking, I don't know, some luxury brand, but you can afford their sister side brand. And so, and the copy designs and the fast fashion, it's like, we don't have like the fast fashion of the wedding industry. And then the middle people, like the small boutique that's charging a high premium, but they're like in Chatham, which is on Cape Cod. And they're making, like a Southern Tide, not premium, but it's like a small luxury brand that's not freaking, they're not like $400 shirts. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
They're good. We can't develop multiple market segments because the bottom of our market is so terrible.
Yeah.
It's destroying
and
some of your lives, guys.
Maybe there is a place. Maybe there is a place for these booking agencies that are just,
$1,500.
Yeah.
That's the place.
And
the person working for them should be being paid $499.
But they shouldn't be able to just book a $1,500 videographer at the Four Seasons.
No.
It ruins the whole experience. Planners hate it, by the way. The venue actually hates it. They're like, dude, this guy, he's ruining our whole thing.
Yes.
Like, guy with flip-flops coming in and like shooting a wedding at the Four Seasons.
They wouldn't even look good as a guest, let alone like staying at the hotel. You wouldn't even walk around the lobby of that hotel like that.
Right. Yeah. And so that's kind of the problem. It solves for the planners and the venue and like.
Well, but also the market. Like you're telling the customer, this person is professional. That is what is important.
They are vetted.
This is a professional person, and this is what that means. As opposed, there's all these market indicators with every other category of product in the world that tells you like, these are red bottoms, these are real Louboutins. This is a fake thing. You might be happy with the fake thing, like fake Rolexes. I don't have a problem with someone buying a fake Rolex. Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah.
They have a good time with them. I'm not trying to that would be gatekeeping. Is like, there should be no fake Rolexes in the world. But I certainly don't think a person should be able to.
Well, here's the difference. Like this watch that I have on is homage.
Yes.
To Patek Philippe. It doesn't say Patek Philippe on it.
Exactly.
A fake would say Patek Philippe on it. So we're trying to prevent the fakes, not prevent the homages.
Well, and also the person who buys, there's enough market education. So if you're into like whatever you said, the word you said, Patek Philippe or something. Yeah. The person who's buying that watch, the whole point of buying the watch is there's a brand associated that they want to be associated with. And of course, craftsmanship and things that go with that. You bought that because you think it looks cool and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't think in your head, this is as good as a Patek Philippe.
And I'm not trying to pass it off as a Patek Philippe. I'm wearing it podcasting right now.
Yes.
It's comfortable. It's a really cool watch.
It looks cool. Like it. It's nice.
But it's not $80,000.
No, no. But like and that doesn't impact the sales of an $80,000 watch in the least bit.
Nope.
They're not related because the person is not trying to buy the same thing.
Yep.
They're trying to buy something different.
Yep.
And that's not what's happening with wedding filmmaking.
Yes.
Is the person doesn't go, well, I'm buying a cheaper one, but it's going to be sucky. They're like, this person's overpriced.
Yeah.
That's where we have a problem.
Yeah.
Is like all the things that go, that's why I keep bringing up like shooting complicated venues is like, maybe you don't care that they don't know how to shoot the venue. Well, that should knock some money off the price. Fine. You want to take that risk? Go ahead.
Right.
But they're not doing that.
Yeah.
They're like, why are you overpriced? We can't have everyone in the market looking at our prices and saying, you are a ripoff. As opposed to this person's cheap for a reason. No one does that. Do you agree?
Yeah. Totally. Like, because the client should be able to say, like, why is this person cheaper? Oh, they're not gilded. That makes sense. But we're
Yeah.
just getting married at the country club down the
We
street.
don't really care.
We don't need a gilded person for what we're doing.
Yeah,
And
it's fine.
there should be that
I'm willing to take the
differentiation.
risk. I'm willing to like whatever. Like I'm not trying to control people's decisions. I don't like market
Or
controls.
maybe they go, oh, that person is gilded. We want to make sure we get someone who's good, who's like,
yes.
there's a little bit of oversight.
Or the
and,
planner might say like, I don't want to refer these people because like they don't know the difference between yours truly media.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, we hired yours truly media. They don't know. Oh, they have a nice portfolio. They have a good professional website. Great.
Cool.
Why are they not gilded?
Yep.
There must be something there.
Yeah. There needs to be another indicator. That's it.
Yeah, and I think that's all I'm really saying. So,
Yep.
I hope people don't hear us like as like doing sour grapes because we don't have sour grapes. Because like to be honest,
If this didn't happen, it's whatever. I just think it would be better for the industry.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we're not really affected by it on a direct sense. Like we
Yeah.
might lose a couple gigs on Martha's Vineyard over it.
Yep.
But like in general, we have enough market and brand presence to overcome it.
I think it would protect a lot of people that want to be wedding filmmakers into their 40s and 50s, and beyond, maybe. I think right now it's very much like who's been doing this for 3 years? What are they? And they're getting undercut. And you see a lot of people that have been doing it for 10 years now being like, oh, well, all these people are undercutting my prices. And it's like, and I would say to those people, like, guys, you have to like stay on top of your game. You have to be providing something unique that's different.
Well, and also
than
you
the
gotta
part-time
change
person.
with the demands of the market. Like
You have to.
the amount of people I see, like, well, that's not my
But that's
style.
the differential now. That's
it-
the differential now. And that's a lot harder. And maybe you could make an argument for like, oh, those people are just, being fed with a silver spoon. If you're gilded, it drives down creativity because they already have it made. There's nothing that's challenging them. You could make that argument. I would say there's still benefits to, pushing yourself because then you can move to like the luxury market and like try to make even more money. This is just like creating a little bit of a filtration system.
So what should people do? If people think this is a good idea, I'm curious, like, I kind of want to hear from people.
So, I would say the AMA part of our website is a good place to go. weddingfilm.school/AMA is a good place where you can give us a little bit of feedback. It's an Ask Me Anything page, but we'd want to hear, that you heard this podcast and hear your thoughts on it. If it would be great, if it would be bad, what your concerns would be, what you love about the idea. I'm sure there's a whole hodgepodge of thoughts on the subject. It's not something I think most people have contemplated probably ever.
I'll tell you this. If a bunch of people were like, let's do this, I would like the conversation.
Yeah. And maybe we could set up a Zoom or something like that. But I don't know. Again, I don't want to do it.
I mean, it's just, there's a lot of, it's one of those things where you need somebody to like sponsor it, to be honest. There needs to be money behind it. And,
Sponsored by Lumex. Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I think it's more so like, okay, the guild is like the framework for a discussion, really more so than the actual solution.
Yeah.
Which is like, how do you wrestle with an industry that's totally inundated with part-time people it's not just that they're going to do a bad job, because like you said, they might do a great job. They don't have the needs that you do. That's the issue.
Mhm.
Is if one person needs the money and the other person doesn't, that person who doesn't need the money will always have an advantage
Mhm.
in the sale.
Yeah. Because if they're making $150,000 being a software guy and they're like, hey, I'm doing 5 weddings at $5
it's my
grand a year.
kid's retirement.
It's an extra
or my kid's
25 grand a
college.
year. I can have a boat if that's the case. Like, it's like, that's great, that you have the boat, but like we're trying to establish an industry here and I can't have that be at the cost of your boat expense.
Yeah. And also like, what if I became a part-time scientist
Yeah.
and like started trying to like get contractor labor out of your job and got half your workforce laid off because they found out they had a bunch of idiots who were like, hey, you can work remotely in Bali. And so this person who just wants to smoke pot all day and surf and do like 4 hours of engineering,
Yeah.
takes the job for half the price. And meanwhile, you're like, I own a house in Connecticut.
Right.
My kids are going to school in Connecticut. You just replaced me with this guy, a pothead who has wanderlust.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is the issue with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is we're dads.
And a lot of people are like, yeah, well, that's the wedding videographer industry.
Yeah,
exactly. We're trying to change that.
That's bad. We're saying
it's bad.
That people can't build a life. And the whole gig economy is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Gig economy is bad.
Yes.
It's bad.
Yes.
If people, and shouldn't be illegal. It should suck.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. People who do it should be like college kids and people who have nothing. And like the problem with it is they have no dependable income, and so they can't afford to live like that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to reliably generate $80,000 a year in a gig economy.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking stupid,
mm-hmm.
and it ruins the ability to be professional.
Yep.
So
totally.
That's my rant.
Yep. So guys, go on weddingfilm.school/AMA if you want to give feedback. Follow us on Instagram, the Wedding Film School Show. Also on Facebook, you can kind of continue the conversation as well. Wedding Film School is the name of our group where there's plenty of people that are giving their feedback on a range of topics every single day. Follow our 3 YouTube channels, Wedding Film School, the Wedding Film School Show, and then Wedding Film 101. 3 different YouTube channels, 3 different purposes. Go check those 3 out. And we hope that you have a great weekend filming weddings this weekend. We'll see you again next week here on the Wedding Film School Show.